In this video, we're taking an in-depth look at Folder Organizer. What this app does is it lets you organize your apps into folders so they can be, nice and organized. It also lets you change the icons of your apps as well as put some widgets on screen to just sort of keep everything better organized. And this is the market page for it. It comes in two flavors, a paid version, which I have the screen up for here, as well as a free version, which is called Folder Organizer Lite. And I'll be putting links to both of the market pages for those in the video description. But let's just jump right to the home screen so you can get a look at what Folder Organizer lets you do. So here we have my home screen. I'm gonna go to this screen over here, and you can see up here I have this little area which is called My Apps, and what this is it's a folder organizer widget of a folder that I've created called My Apps. And one of the things that's nice about this is I can scroll through these apps right there on my home screen, and the scrolling is only supported in third-party home screen replacements such as Launcher Pro, Go Launcher EX, or ADW. So if you have one of those, you can do the scrolling effect. If you don't worry, you can still use the widgets. You just can't scroll with them, but you can still have them. So how would you use Folder Organizer? So I'm going to go ahead and go into the actual app itself. Just hit the link right there, bringing up Folder Organizer. And so this is the sort of first screen you get in Folder Organizer. You can see we have labels, apps, contacts, shortcuts, bookmarks, and search. So the first thing I want to show you is labels. As you can see here, I have already created a couple of labels: financial, games, Google, multimedia, my apps, news, productivity, social, so on and so forth. And to create a new label, you just hit the plus sign up here. Lets you use a new label. You can manually choose what goes in here, or you can do dynamic, which kind of sort of goes through your apps and picks and chooses what it thinks should go in here. Personally, I like to have full control over what I put into each label, so I'm going to stick with manual. And as far as the items that are going to be in here, you can select only items with no labels, start items. You can also have it be a fixed sort. I'm going to leave all of those unchecked, but just know that you can select those options. So I'm just going to hit, I guess I need to give it a name first. So let's just call this test, and then hit OK. So now, scroll down, you can see we have test right here. It's got a blank square, and if I hit this arrow on the left, you see nothing happens, whereas, for example, if I go to tools, I hit that arrow, it shows everything that I've labeled as being part of the tools folder. So how do we add stuff in here? Well, you see this blue arrow on the right here, you select that, and you can edit it, you can change its icon, you can sort it, you can share it, change the layout, delete it. So I'm just going to go to items. So here's where we start adding stuff to this label. I'm going to select apps up here, hit OK. Before I hit OK, just note that you have the option of adding bookmarks, contacts, other labels, as well as direct call, text, or email options for contacts in your contacts list. And you can also add shortcuts in here. But for now, I'm just going to go with apps, hit OK. And you can see this screen pops up and it shows all of the apps that are on my phone. So just for the sake of demonstration, I'm going to select the first 5, hit OK. So now you can see it kind of shows a little folder view of those apps, and if I press that left arrow, it now shows those apps as being part of the test folder. Okay, so now that we've added apps into our test folder, what can we actually do with it? So, let me just go back to my home screen here. I'm going to do a long press, and I'm going to select widget. So let's find folder organizer. So we've got some options here. Folder organizer folder link will basically be a link to a folder that you've created. In this case, if I wanted to have a link to my test folder, I would select that. If I wanted to do an item, that'll let you go to an item you've edited within folder organizer, and I'll show that one a little later. And then we have our widgets here. All the widgets take up 4 columns, but they take up a different amount of rows. You can see this is 4 columns by 1 row, 4 columns by 2 rows, 3 and 4. So I'm going to go with a 4 by 2. And now it's going to ask you, what do you want to have a widget for? So I'm going to select test. But before I select it, you see up here we have widget options. So let's go into that. So use custom theme. Right now it's using default. You can go choose and select some different themes for how it looks. For right now I'm just going to leave it as default. And again, since I'm using a home replacement utility, in this case I'm using Go Launcher EX, I'm going to go ahead and select scrollable. As you can see, it gives you a warning, scrollable widgets can only be used with custom homes that support it. So, okay, thank you very much. And show text, I don't want to see the text. But if you want to, it gives you an option. Down here, it asks you if you want to show the options button in the toolbar of the widget or in the actual grid. I'm going to leave it in the grid for right now. But again, I'll show you how you can change that. So if I hit OK, and then select test, you can see now we have our folder that we created as a widget on our home screen, as well as the icons that are in there. You can see this little pliers and screwdriver over here, which, that's not pliers, it's a wrench. That is how you go back in here and change the settings of this widget. If I go to my other home screen here, you can see that little icon is in the top corner, and that was because I selected that option that said show in title. So if I wanted to do that, I'd select that and go back down, show options button in toolbar. Hit OK. And you can see it takes it out of here, and now it's up there. So again, pretty cool if you have a set of apps that you want, on your home screen, you want them quickly accessible yet neatly organized. Widgets are a good way to do that. If you want to change how it looks, go to choose theme, and if you select empty, it just looks like a blank space of icons. I like simple, so I'm going to select that. And you can see the appearance of this has changed. The icon for the settings have changed. Again, this is the default look over here. And if you change the appearance of one of your widgets, it only affects that widget. It doesn't affect other widgets on your other screens. So something cool to keep in mind. So that's widgets with folder organizer. I'm going to go to over here where I've got some empty real estate. So now, remember when I said you could add a folder organizer link or a folder organizer item? Oops. So long press, go to widget, and go back down. So folder organizer item is one of the other options, and to play with that, I'm gonna go into folder organizer again first. So just go there, and let's say I'm gonna use test again. Press that left arrow. Let's say I don't particularly like the icon that Adobe Reader has. So I do this little blue arrow for Adobe Reader, and as you can see now, I can manipulate the application itself. So go to labels. Right now it's associated with test. If I wanted to, I could add it to a couple of different folders. And so now it'll be part of test, but it'll also be part of those other folders as well. So if I select OK, and now you can see next to the icon it shows you all of the folders that it is associated with.
So one of the other things I'm going to do here is I'm going to edit Adobe Reader. So press that little blue arrow on the side, and we changed the labels previously. Now I'm going to change the actual icon itself. You can see on this menu we have Android Image Gallery, so you can use any picture that's in your image or picture gallery. You can do icon packs and Explorer, which is a market app. You could do and Explorer, which is another app that is in the market. I don't have that installed, so I'm not going to go into that. But it also supports icon packs, which are in the market, and I do have some of those installed. So I'm going to show how to use that. Or you can just select choose icon. And there's some icons that are kind of packaged in with folder organizer. So if I just go to default icons, these are some of the apps that come with folder organizer. So just for demonstration, let's go with the chess piece. And as you can see, the Adobe Reader icon has now changed into a chess piece. And also, if you notice up here in test, it's changed into a little chess piece. So let me minimize that. For test, if I wanted to have an icon instead of, the little preview there, I can go to icon. And right now, show items and icon is what is selected. But, if you want to change that, again, I'll just use some of the default icons. And let's go with that. That looks cool. So now you can see test has changed. And the reason I changed that is so I can show you on the home screen again some of the other folder organizer widgets. So if I do a long press, I go to widget. Let's go back to folder organizer. So I'm going to select folder organizer link. And what that's going to let me do is it's going to let me select one of my folders. And you can select, as you can see, show text under icon or not. If you like a clean home screen, you don't like icons have text, you can uncheck that. I'm going to leave it checked. I'm going to select test. And as you can see, the little icon that we just selected for test shows up. And if I press on it, it pops up my test folder. And one of the things that is part of the paid version is I can actually edit the test label from here just by pressing this little sprocket up in the corner. I can change the icon, I can change how things are sorted, I can select what items are in there, etc., etc. Let me open that back up. You can change the layout. My default layout currently is grid with icon and text. If you want to make it different, you can make it a list. You can make it a grid with just icons. So some nice functionality in there. I'm going to hit cancel. Again, that's part of the paid version. If you use the free version, you'll have to go back into folder organizer each time and edit the folder from there. Um, I use folder organizer enough that I felt, you know what, it's just worth it to buy it, and it's a great app, so I highly recommend it to people to purchase. Also, support the developer. This is uh this is their work, their bread and butter. Um, Another thing I want to show you is that second option back to the widgets, that second folder organizer widget, which is folder organizer item. So if I select that, I go to apps and scroll down. Oh, oops. So you can see here Adobe Reader has that cool chess piece icon that we changed. You can choose to show the name on the text under the icon. You can rename it. Let's say I just want it to say Reader. Oops. Okay. So now it will, and it's all the way in my R's now. But yeah, so now I've changed what it says. Again, if you don't want it to say anything, you could just uncheck show text under icon. But if I select it, now I get the cool custom icon that I've built for Adobe Reader instead of the stock icon that it would have used if I had just gone into my application tray and dragged it onto the home screen. So that's a pretty nice feature to have. Um, Another thing that I'd like to show is select test again from here. In the paid version, you can have what are called nested folders, or in other words, in this folder, you can actually have another folder inside. So I'm going to hit the sprocket, and then I'm going to go to items. Now instead of selecting apps, I'm going to select labels, hit OK, and you can see the folders that I've made show up in here. So I'm going to go ahead and put my apps in there if I hit OK. So now we have this icon in here called My Apps. If I select on that, you can see it's another folder. And this folder actually has more nested folders in it. So if I select multimedia, that's another folder. Again, another cool feature, which you can only do with the paid version, but I, again, felt that that was worth it enough to, spring a couple bucks for. So if I keep hitting back, I eventually get back to my test folder, and I can just close that out. So great way to organize your apps, great way to clean up your home screen. Instead of having a bunch of apps icons on the home screen, you could just assign them all to a label, such in this case test, which is right there. So again, nice functionality. It, like I said, it supports icon packs. You could see the My Apps icon is part of an icon pack that I downloaded called Unity Icons. I'll put links in the description to the icon packs that I have, as well as the folder organizer and folder organizer Lite. And I'll put a link to the developer's homepage. He's got a lot of good info on there. Whenever there's a new release coming out, he will talk about it on there. And so Again, this has been an in-depth look at Folder Organizer. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you look forward to more Android videos, go ahead and hit the subscribe button up above. And if you think this looks like a cool app that might work out for you, check it out in the marketplace. And until next time, this has been In-Depth Look at Folder Organizer again. Thanks a lot and stay tuned. Take care, guys. Bye.